Awesome. I'm really excited to be here with everyone today, and I hope everyone's being safe and taking really good care of yourself. And hopefully through today's presentation, I can give you a little bit of a tip to take back and try something new in your online learning or online, in my case, professional development. So today's topic is communicating digitally with students. My name is Dani Patterson, and I'm an instructional technologist in Killeen ISD. So before I got started, I thought I would tell a little bit about myself. Like I said, I'm in Killeen ISD, and I'm a mom to 2 kiddos, as you can see in the picture. Although I would say the pup on the left is like a 3rd child. So it's like I'm a mom to 3 kids. I have my master's in instructional technology, as well as a bachelor's in elementary education, and have been in education for 12 years. I'm a proud Schoology ambassador and a very proud Schoology Administrator of the Year in 2018. I'm very involved in a lot of ed tech companies like Microsoft, PlayPosit, Nearpod, Schoology, of course. I'm a blended leader cohort graduate with Gina Hartman's team, Dr. Hartman's team, and I'm very passionate in blended learning. So if there's any time you want to talk to me about anything, I could talk forever about blended learning. So like I said, today we're going to talk about communicating digitally with students. But before we get too far into it, we should first talk about what does communicating digitally mean? What does that mean to you, and what does it mean to me? And so the first part is that I'd like to use this quote that communication facilitates sharing of feelings, and it expresses information, which ultimately helps to educate, train, socialize, entertain, motivate, persuade, all of the above. And as humans, we are born communicating, and we will communicate until the day we die, whether we're communicating with words or not words. And here are the different types of communications that I could find and think of, and I know there are plenty more out there. This is just the start of the type of communication. So I'm such a visual person. So anytime that I do a training, I always have to share that out, because you can give me facts, you can give me data, but I need to see everything. So I built my session today around visuals. So here's my visual of communication, and then here's my visual of digital. And so when we mesh these two pieces together, how does that look with this online learning that we're doing currently? And so I found some great examples out on Twitter. If you are not a Twitter user, I highly encourage you to jump on Twitter and follow these users that I'm going to be sharing from their tweets. Because look at this, they are giving great examples. So here's an example from Stephen Rayo, and he uses his announcement space in Schoology for quick directions. So here's a perfect example of communicating digitally using Schoology. Here's another one in the elementary world. How easy and cute is this when your students or your child log in and they see elephants? It automatically personalizes what it is that you guys are learning in the classroom, and she's giving directions by just adding speech bubbles over elephants. And here's her Twitter handle. You can follow her. She's always sharing great resources. All of these people are. So Newsella posted this question out to their members in a blog post. And so their question to their community was, how can I enable families to be aware of new important information and learning goals when students are not in the classroom? So take a moment and think about that. How are you already helping families, or how are you already helping students get new information and understand the learning goals while they're at home learning? So why is digital communication important? Why is this important right now? Well, first of all, let's talk about the students. Why is this important to the students? They are having to follow this instruction from outside of the physical classroom, away from their peers, from their teachers, from body clues, from anchor charts hanging up in the classroom that they're used to looking up to connect their learning. Students are connected to global and community issues from home. They're hearing about this coronavirus and COVID-19 and sicknesses and all these new rules and regulations, and they can't go to Chick-fil-A and they can't go to the park. And so they're trying to connect to this new normal, as well as learning online. Students have emotional and social needs during home learning. We all have been hearing about SEL and how important it is, not only in this time right now, but when we do return back to school in August, hopefully. So what does it look like for teachers? Well, teachers are having to be responsive to students' learning needs in a different type of environment. In the classroom, it's normal. This is completely abnormal for our teachers. And teachers need to model and be explicit in their instruction. We know this, we've learned this through college, through trainings, but how does that look when you're behind a computer screen and so are your students? So let's go on to, of course, now that we've talked about the why and the how, or the why and we learned the what, let's talk about how can you communicate digitally with students. And just like I said before, I'm very visual, so I got you guys some great examples from people that I know so that you could see what it is that we're talking about. So the first part of Schoology, which I said I expected to see highest on the poll that Kelly asked, was about Schoology course updates. It's so simple. If you are a Facebook user, Instagram user, Twitter user, it's just like posting that you do on those social media platforms, but you're posting it in an educational platform where students that are in your courses or in your groups can easily see. So through Schoology, as you can see in this image, this is a PE teacher, and she's been using Schoology to continue her PE teachings while at home. And so she's making announcements below the box, and she's also pinning the most important announcements at the top. So when students move from materials to updates, they will continuously see that big important announcement, which is a conference. She's inviting her students to have a conference with her, which I think is wonderful. Not only can you post text in these boxes, but you can embed. So as you see in her post below, she has an image. She's creating her own GIFs, or her own memes, sorry, and she's adding them to her post. So her students are looking forward to seeing these photos. I've seen some teachers upload videos. They're reading a novel study with their students through a video and upload them on the announcement page. You can attach things to it. So as you see photos, you may have a PDF, you may have a PowerPoint, but it's endless on the things that you can attach to a Schoology update. So once a teacher uploads or a staff member does an update, students are alerted if they have the Schoology app downloaded on their cell phone or have signed up for SMS text messaging. So they are alerted immediately with what was posted, or there might be a little bit of a lag, which is okay. But if they log into Schoology daily because they're doing their additional coursework, they're going to see that update on their recent activity. So no matter what, they can't miss it. So that's a good thing. And it allows for students to comment. So with the teacher posting an update, she may think that everything that she put in there was explicit and it was full of information. There may be an additional detail that she missed, and a student may comment asking that question. What's wonderful when you have a update is that other students could possibly answer that question because you might have had to step away to attend to your own children. And so when they post a question, maybe Sarah posts a question and then Johnny knows the answer for you. So then the students are helping the students, as well as, even though Sarah posted a question, other students might have had that same question. So now everyone knows the answer. So even though updates seem so minor in Schoology, it has so many capabilities, and it's dynamic in the purpose for communicating digitally online through Schoology. I'm going to move on, and if you have any questions, I know that we have Schoology and Power School personnel manning the chat, so feel free to drop them in there because they are ready for your questions. So feedback, that was the one that beat out the updates, which I was really impressed to see that you guys are using the feedback on the different types of coursework in Schoology. And so when you give an assessment, let's talk about assessments first. When you give an assessment or a testing quiz, students are getting that immediate feedback once they click submit. So it's wonderful that they know what their grade is, what answers that they got incorrect. But did you know that there is an additional feature in the tests and quizzes of Schoology? And so I want to show this to you. So this is an example of providing feedback. There's no sound. When a student answers a question, and let's say they answered incorrectly, this is what the students will see. Or this one is correctly, sorry. So she answered it correctly. She got a cool Bitmoji. Now incorrectly, what could happen? The teacher could provide feedback that is incorrect. Yikes. And then the teacher even posts the periodic table of elements so that the student can immediately see the incorrect, of course, if they got it incorrect, and then they can go and break their misconceptions and find it. And then I bet you that they're going to get that answer correctly next time because they were immediately shown the correct answer. So that's a feature that is available in Test and Quizzes, which is the green puzzle piece in Schoology. And I always love showcasing that and adding Bitmojis because I love Bitmojis. And so with assessments, there is a ton of feedback there. They have more enhanced question types. So students are able to see their incorrect responses as well as teachers can give feedback on the different questions. So, and then on top of that, our rubric on assignments. That's another great tool that is available for students. So for an example, a student uploads, let's say an essay or a PowerPoint that was supposed to be submitted to the teacher. Here's an image of what the teacher now sees when they go into the assignment. And the teacher has a lot of tools to their disposal that are digital so that they can provide that feedback. And one of the tools, as you can see across the bar, is like a sticky note. So you can leave sticky notes on a student's work, just pointing things out, as well as if you see next to the sticky note, there's a pen. So if you're working, if you're really good at your trackpad, you can circle things, you can underline, you can cross out. So I think of when I taught ELAR and how this would have been super helpful on my essays. On top of that, before I go too far, is that you can provide like feedback on the sidebar, which could be text, and text is wonderful. But I know kids in high school that once they get past the first paragraph, they kind of start paying attention. But I don't know if you noticed that there's a little microphone. So you can record audio or you can upload your own audio. So while you're looking at their document, you can be recording on your cell phone and then get that file and save it as the correct format and upload it so that the student can listen to you providing them feedback on their work while they're reviewing it themselves. It's a really cool tool. And I know my ELAR teachers really love using that as well. And then, of course, you can't forget rubrics. Rubrics are wonderful because when the student went to submit their assignment, they actually were able to see the rubric on it and what it is that the teacher is looking for. So when you're ready to grade, you touch on your little rubric box, the rubric pops up, and you give them the grades that they have earned and click save. And now they get an alert that it has been graded and they can go back and see, again, that feedback on how they did on assignments. So again, we talked about a lot of different materials that are available to you through Schoology on feedback on assessments, test and quizzes, assignments. There's so much more. Discussions is another one that you can attach rubrics to as well. So again, if you're interested in things like that, drop that in the chat. We've got people ready to help you with whatever you need. So on top of digitally communicating with students, the easiest thing to do is to contact your students. And Schoology and Microsoft have been working wonderfully at the beginning of all this COVID crisis. And we're able to get Microsoft Teams into Schoology so that you can access Teams links to be able to share on those Schoology updates for students. So don't forget you have that capability. And as you can see, this is actually my daughter. She's in first grade. And she got to jump on a Teams with some of her classmates. And it was like, I don't know why I cried. It was just so wonderful that she was able to see her friends from home. So other ways to contact students digitally is through Zoom. You guys know that there's Google Voice options and the Remind, as well as just a simple email, reaching out on social media, and of course, having your own type of school website. Whether it's a school website or school Facebook page, just communicating with students virtually the best that you can and being transparent in the time. So moving on is, we've been talking about communicating digitally with students, but if I have any people on this call, they're like, I'm a teacher and I teach young grades and they don't get on Schoology as much. Well, don't forget that there are parents. And so I encourage you to get those parent access codes for your students and get your parents online. If you have to call every single parent and invite them to join Schoology with the parent access code, do so, because it's just going to be huge to build that type of communication and relation with your with your students' parents. And here's an example of a first grade teacher who created a parent Schoology group. And through this group, she has been posting things that are important to us as parents. So she was letting us know that she was sorting through our children's stuff at school. She lets us know about the conferences, but still posts the conferences and the courses. She gives us almost every couple of day updates on information, procedures. She has albums that we can upload pictures of our students doing work at home. She puts her Google phone number, and she just continually communicates with us in such a positive way that it makes me feel that I'm not out of the loop as a parent. So definitely appreciate whenever teachers are using groups. So through groups, you just have to create it and share that access code with parents. You can also we have a different type of department groups currently. So we have like a library group. So all of our librarians are together sharing out resources, how they're still doing virtual read alouds through from being home and through Schoology. Athletic groups. So for our different sport groups and UILs, they're posting videos for practices, warm-ups and workouts that they could be working on while they're at home. Band and choir are posting videos of their songs. We currently have cheerleading and dance team tryouts going on through Schoology, where they are uploading the videos that they need to be practicing, documents that their parents need to fill out. It's just wonderful the plethora of information that's being done out through Schoology that you couldn't get elsewhere without having to really track people down. But because this is a platform that we say is one-stop shop, parents know about it and we use it frequently. And then of course, don't forget your clubs. Great place to host your club meetings if needed. Use the calendar feature to let them know when you're having meetings and getting online to do activities together. And then on top of that, the integrations that are available to you through Schoology or not through Schoology are a great tool for connecting digitally with your students. So for example, PlayPosit is an embeddable tool that we use through Schoology for videos. So currently, whenever I share something out that's new, I like to put my video on PlayPosit so that I can add kind of some check for understandings along the way to make sure that people are understanding what it is that I'm saying, because I know I am a fast speaker. So I love to use PlayPosit, and teachers are able to do that as well. And they have a great tool with discussion boards. Then of course there's Flipgrid, and students love the Flipgrid integration so that they can record themselves and add little cute icons on top of their photos. Just even if it's a check-in, how are you doing, how are you feeling type of activity, it's a great tool for that. And of course, can't forget Nearpod. They have self-paced lessons, and students can get, again, that immediate feedback and can participate with their classmates, even though they're not together face-to-face. So thanks to our recent Schoology chat that we had this week, I grabbed a couple of screenshots from some more users out there who are doing wonderful with communicating digitally with their students. I thought I would share those with you. And again, if you're not on Twitter, I encourage you, jump on Twitter, follow the hashtag Schoology Chat. Here's Aaron and how he does weekly Zoom meetings with his class, and they start every day with a morning meeting activity on the Schoology discussion board. And he also has a shout out page. How wonderful is that? Like, what an easy way just to still feel connected to your teacher and your classmates from home. And then Brian, which I know Brian was our Schoology Ambassador of the Year, and he creates materials for students to complete during their week. And he's a music teacher, and he loves to hear them play the music directly through Schoology back to him. And so I think that's wonderful to hear that music teachers are using Schoology as a way to communicate with their students. And then of course, Bob, we can't forget Bob, we love Bob, and he uses communication tools depending on where the recipients live on the web. So he's using updates, discussions, Zoom meetings, emails, phone calls, text messages. There's so many options available, but just to remember that it's consistency and simplicity are the biggest considerations. So you want to keep it consistent and keep it simple for your learners. And Nicole showcased a really cool way that she's using her Schoology updates with being able, right there on the screen, you see her board that gives her, that that when the students select on it, it takes them directly to the assignment. And then she also has when her conference is. And she thanked Philip Pulley for showing everyone how to do that. And if you missed that distance learning meetup where Phil showcases how to kind of gamify your courses, and this is a wonderful way to communicate with parents.